They say strength is inspiring. But real strength, the kind they can't manipulate, control, guilt trip, that kind doesn't inspire them. It scares them. Because the moment your mind becomes unbreakable, people stop recognizing you as nice and start calling you cold, distant, too quiet, too blunt, too different. They won't say it to your face, no. They'll say, "You've changed. You used to be soft. You used to be fun. You used to break a little when they needed you to. But now, you build silence into your strength. You let their noise crash like waves, while you stand there like a rock that doesn't flinch. That's when they start to notice. You don't react anymore. You don't explain. You don't chase. You just observe. That scares them more than any outburst ever could. Because people are wired to control what they can predict. And you've made yourself unpredictable. They try the usual games: guilt, sarcasm, passive aggression. But you don't bite. You don't even blink. You just let it hang in the air, like a mirror held up to their own weakness. You see, when your mind becomes unbreakable, you stop begging people to stay. You stop arguing with people who've already made up their minds. You stop explaining your worth to anyone who treats it like a debate. You stop giving CPR to dead relationships. You let things die with dignity. And that terrifies them. Because most people are addicted to chaos they can understand. They want you to cry, scream, overthink, because that's familiar. But when you just detach, when your silence becomes a sentence, they call it scary. They call it cruel, because it forces them to deal with something they've never met before. A person who doesn't need validation to feel real. You start smiling differently, not out of politeness, but because you see right through them. You start choosing peace over closure. You stop correcting every lie told about you, because the truth doesn't beg. You stop entering battles you've already won in your head, and you start walking away, not out of weakness, but because you finally can. And then they say, "You've changed." Yes, you changed. From emotionally available to emotionally bulletproof. From desperately kind to quietly powerful. And they don't like it, because people fear what they can't use. You build a mind so unbreakable, it absorbs betrayal without collapse. It sits with loneliness without addiction. It chooses growth even when it costs connection. You develop the kind of presence that makes liars stutter, because your silence feels like a courtroom. The kind of calm that makes manipulators itch, because your boundaries are louder than their ego. You stop showing up just to be tolerated. You stop shrinking yourself to keep the peace. And you stop playing therapist to people who refuse to heal. And here's the twist. You don't even need to announce it. They'll feel it long before you ever speak it, because a mind that can't be broken doesn't need to prove anything. It just exists, unaffected, unbothered, and utterly terrifying to those who only know how to love you when you're broken. Subscribe if you're still here.